All right, guys. So just kind of some housekeeping first. Again, just a greetings to you. Thanks for joining this virtual training today. My name's Dan with the training and implementation team with OnTarget. So hopefully by the end of today's session, you're going to feel comfortable using OnTarget in its various forms. Hopefully you're going to know the different support channels that you can use and reach out to. That's really kind of what we're doing today. Housekeeping item here. You've likely been already to the ProCareUnlimited.com site. Definitely take a note of that. ProCareUnlimited.com is likely where you signed up for this virtual training if you signed up for the session yourself. But first thing here, there is a chat feature. So if you have any questions about OnTarget, just kind of the function, like, anything from how do I add a schedule to how does the mobile app work? How do I download the mobile app? Any questions you can think of, this is basically tapping into our knowledge base. So that's a great feature for you. And then the additional OnTarget support and training. As I said before, if you signed up yourself for this virtual training, you likely came here to this virtual training link. We do have some additional in-person trainings available if you feel like you are not getting enough information from today's training. There are some slots available in those as well. There's the download OnTarget mobile link. So if you're using an Android device, it's going to walk you through that process. If you're using an Apple device, of course, the App Store. Most of you have likely already downloaded the app, but if you haven't, that will provide those instructions. Some additional training resources here. So just, again, everything from how do I edit schedules, how do I add schedules, completing my notes. This is talking about different pay periods. So there's some good videos here, some reference guides. And then the other thing really to know here, if you got the site, you've got kind of a link to everything you need, ProCareUnlimited.com. But if you have any questions or you have some troubleshooting needs, or you get in there and you're getting some error message and you can't resolve it, right? Maybe you're trying to sign your note and it's saying you're going over the units or something like that. This is where you can reach out via email to this ProCareUnlimited@aboundhealth.com. And that is being manned constantly. So folks on the ProCare team are responding to those tickets, giving callbacks where needed, and triaging those emails. So you definitely have all of these avenues at your disposal and ways to get answers and ways to get support and help. Like I said, if you've got some questions throughout this session, this is really set to run for an hour. We try to keep it on time, get you guys in and out. But if you've got any questions as we go along, you can certainly pop those in the chat. Again, Marcel's going to be kind of helping out with some of that and triaging those. And then we will save a little bit of time at the end too, just to if you have any very specific questions, we can kind of hang tight and try to get those answered. So this session is going to be broken up into two parts. The first is going to be going over the desktop version of OnTarget, which is what you see here. The back half is really going to be focused on mobile. I understand a majority of you guys are likely going to be using your mobile devices. That's great. That is probably the most user-friendly experience. I would definitely recommend that. But you will likely find yourself maybe in a situation where you need to use the desktop version, or you need to log in on a laptop at some point. Or maybe you prefer using a laptop. So we want to go over both ways of getting at OnTarget. So we're going to start with the desktop. There's no app, of course, to download. This is just a site. So the site is ontargetclinical.com. So definitely, definitely make a note of that and bookmark it if you need to, if you're going to use the desktop version. OnTargetClinical.com, you can actually type that into Google and you're going to get the link that takes you to this login page, no problem. For most of you, your username, if you have not received that already, is going to be first name dot last name. There may be a variation of that. If your name is maybe a little more common, you may have first name dot last name and a 1 after that. You're going to know pretty quickly if you don't have the correct username. You'll get an error message. And then the temporary password. I'm going to actually put some of this in the chat real quick. So let me just jump over here. So again, first name dot last name, right? So it's first, last for your typically, yep, lowercase. It's actually not case sensitive. And then this is what your temporary password will be for nearly everyone on this call. So, yep, there you go. And then you're going to be prompted to change your password to your own unique password. Okay. Yep. And yeah, and Becky, any guys, if you've actually got some questions, if you just want to pop them into the chat, we'll kind of get to those as we can. Again, Marcel's kind of manning some of that, so we'll certainly get to that as we can, but we'll kind of keep moving with the training for sure. All right, so you do have a forgot password link here. So if you do forget your password, you certainly can click on that and it's going to send you a password reset link, just like, you know, any other platform you're already used to. So we're going to go ahead and get logged in here using our Trainer 2. So this is kind of what the desktop version of OnTarget looks like. You'll notice that the landing page is really this dashboard. And we have these two widgets here. We've got this unsigned, unapproved notes and my tasks. So I'm just going to very briefly go over these and kind of what they are, what they do. Unsigned, unapproved notes is just what it sounds like. It's essentially unsigned notes. So these are your notes. These are notes that you have started in the system, but you have not finished them up. So you haven't one of two things: you haven't addressed the goals and you have not signed them. So you haven't put in your password and applied your digital signature to sign it, and essentially it's unfinished business here, right? And it's a way of getting back into that note. So this is one that I started a couple of days ago on the 26th. I can actually go right back into that note where I started it just by clicking on that little pencil icon. We're going to get into the nuts and bolts of this. We're going to actually write a note together here in just a minute. But you can see I have not signed it. It's still, if you kind of see where my cursor is hovering and moving in the upper right-hand corner here, it's a work in process, and I have not signed it yet. And you can see that in the lower right where it says sign note. So I would need to click on that, put in my password, right? Hit OK, and then I'm done with that note at that point. And what I should see then is back at my dashboard, that's going to drop off of my dashboard, right? Because I no longer need to do anything with that. Okay. Tasks, that is really just messaging inside of OnTarget. Some of that is automated tasks, and that's an example of what you're seeing here. The system is really just kind of giving me some information about my timesheets. It's saying, hey, time has been added to a particular timesheet. Other examples going forward where you may see tasks would be around your certifications, things like your CPR first aid is expiring. We need an updated copy of your driver's license. Maybe it is around a note correction, right? So maybe there's some content on the note that needs to be corrected. Maybe a supervisor is reaching out about that. So those are just some examples where you could see some messages pop up here under my tasks. So that's really dashboard, pretty easy. Where we're going to spend a vast majority of our time, both under the desktop and the mobile applications, are under scheduling. So scheduling is kind of where the magic happens, if you will. It's if you are a staff member that needs to clock in and clock out, then a schedule is absolutely required. You've got to schedule. You've got to put that schedule on before you can do the clocking in and clocking out. I would say pretty much everybody on this call, you are going to be set to start on the 4th. So on May 4th. And you likely will be scheduling yourselves, okay? So you're going to actually be adding a schedule in. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. It's very, very easy to add a schedule. If you don't have to clock in, you're gonna know that right out of the gate, because of really the way this, you should know this already, right? If you don't have to clock in, you're likely a live-in caregiver, you're a relative as provider. If you have completed an attestation form to that effect, then you're not having to clock in and clock out. And I can see that from the label of the service. If I actually hover, these are scheduled events, by the way, on my calendar. So if I hover over, I see some good information here. I see my name as the caregiver, the client name, I see the service, I see the date, and then I see the duration of 2 hours in this case, 0200. And then I see this is non-EVV. Right. So the service label itself is basically showing me, look, I don't need to clock in and out on this one. However, this particular service, right, says community living and support EVV, right? And so you may see for your service, it may be personal care. For your service, it may be a combination of personal care and respite, or it may be CLS, or it may be another service type. But the label really kind of tells you, hey, this needs to be clocked in and out against, or it doesn't. And the system will let you know very quickly if you needed to clock in or clock out. If you go to try to launch a note, it's going to say, hey, you got to clock in first. If you don't have to clock in and it's a non-EVV, you can just sail right through and actually complete the note. No problem. All right, so real quick, clocking in. If you do have to clock in and you're on the desktop, it's very easy to do. In the upper right of the screen, I'm moving my cursor right up here in this purple where it says clock in. That's what you click on if you have to clock in. And so if you click on that, I don't have anything assigned right now. I don't have any schedules for today requiring clock in and clock out. But if you do, you're going to see that schedule very quickly. You're going to hit OK, and the system will then say clocked in as of, and it's going to give you a timestamp. I'm going to save some of that actual clocking in and clocking out for the mobile, because I feel like a lot of you guys are going to be using mobile. But if you do need to clock in here, that's what it is. It's going to look like clock in, the time gets stamped, right? Date and time gets stamped right here. It's going to say clocked in as of, and then this button then changes to clocked out. So at the end of your shift, you're simply going to click on clock out and clock out of your shift and complete your note. All right, guys. So super important filters here. I would say one of the most important filters that if you can hear anything I say here from the desktop, okay, it's the show note not created. So right here in the upper left, you can see I'm moving my cursor. This bottom checkbox that says show note not created. When I click on that, you'll notice that some of the scheduled events go away, right? So let me kind of do that again. So here we go. We've got all these scheduled events. We've got some for tomorrow and Friday as well. But when I click on show note not created, what this is showing me is scheduled events on my calendar where I didn't even start my note yet. Okay. So it's unfinished business, right? It's either I need to delete the schedule because it didn't work it's missed. I need to add it to a different day if I ended up working, say, on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. Or I need to go ahead and write my note, right? I need to actually go ahead and click on this, and I need to add my note, which is what I do right there. Okay. So we'll get to that in just a minute, but that is a super, super important filter, is the show note not created, because again, that is your ability to constantly keep up with, okay, where are my schedules, right? So kind of toggle it off. Where do I have all of my schedules lined up? And then where have I not written my notes? That's really what that's showing you, okay, here on the desktop. All right. So I do want to show you guys how to create a schedule. I'm going to actually do that right now. I'm going to click on today. It's very easy to do. So right here on this calendar view, if I just click right on the cell, and I'm going to select my name from the drop down. You're only going to see your name. You don't even have to type anything in there. You're going to see your assigned client or clients. I'm going to pick trainee 3. You're going to have the service or services that the client receives. So maybe, again, you've got personal care, or you got some combination of personal care and respite. So you need to put a schedule in for each of those services, especially if it's EVV. You've got to clock in and clock out against it. So for this example, again, I'm going to put a non-EVV because I just want to write a note. Okay. So I'm going to put 0100, which is 1 hour of time, right? So if I needed 3, I'm going to put 0300 and so on and so forth. So I'm going to hit save. And there you go. It's that easy. I just added my scheduled event right there. You may have noticed you do have a recurrence function. So if you do decide to do that, I'm not going to go heavily into that today, but if you are scheduling yourself, you can, I would suggest scheduling no more than a month at a time. Even if the authorization goes, for 6 months or even a whole year. Like if I click on recurrence, let me just kind of show you this very quickly so you see what I'm talking about. Let's try that one more time. So here we're talking about trainee 3. We're talking about this service. We're going to say, okay, let's say I do like 1 hour 5 times. Say recurrence, it just gives you a calendar, right? So if I said, look, I want to go ahead and schedule for the month of May, right? That's exactly what this is doing, right? So if you're kind of like, hey, I work 2 hours every single day, Monday through Friday, that's what we're talking about here. So when you select those dates of service and hit save, it's just a recurrence, right? It's going to basically, it's a super duper shortcut instead of having to add those one by one every single day. So for those of you that want to do it that way, you certainly can. If your schedule is just kind of all over the place, or like, hey, sometimes I do a Tuesday, but then that might get shifted to a Wednesday or a Thursday, and maybe it's not quite as regular and repeating, then maybe you don't want to use the recurrence feature. All right, guys, so we've got the schedule event on there. I'm going to go ahead and create a note. I want you guys to see how that works on desktop, and then we're going to jump over to mobile for the second half. So starting a note is super easy. Again, I'm going to say show note not created, and there you go. Yep, I have not created a note on that for today. It's easy to do, though. If I click on add edit note, I'm going to expand this a bit so you can see it a little bit better. And then in the bottom right, I do have to put my times in here. So let's say I did some community living and support from 8 to 9 this morning. right? I'm going to put my start and my end time. And now in the bottom right, I'm moving my cursor here, create note. I'm going to click on create note. And then I'm going to expand this. Let me zoom in just so you guys can see this a little bit better. So this is what it looks like, right? I've got my 8 to 9, and now you'll notice all of my goals from my client have populated here, right? I've got 3 goals. I've got one around money management. I've got one that's a laundry goal, and then I've got a meal prep goal. Okay. This should look kind of familiar, especially if you're doing something like a CLS service or SIP, or even if you're doing personal care and respite, the process is going to be the same, guys. You're still going to you're going to create schedule, you're going to click on create note. It's just going to look a lot more simplified. It's going to be more of like a yes, no, right? Like, yes, we folded laundry. No, we did not have a community excursion, right? It's just same idea, just more simplified. So up along the top, this should look familiar to a lot of you guys. So was this done independently? Were verbal prompts given, gesture, modeling, physical prompt, hand over hand, refusal? Was it not even applicable today, right? And then you've got, as far as the assessment, like how did the client do? Was the progress the same? Was there improvement? Was there a decrease in ability? And then again, just NA. And then if I zoom back out, comment. So comments are not required, but you do have the ability to put in comments, right? So those are always good if you need to give some additional info. So let's say for this one, and guys, look, it's very simple. All I can put here, if you see I'm hovering over it, all I can do is put an X. Okay, so it's pretty easy. I have to put at least one intervention and one assessment. And so you'll see what I'm talking about. If I do, yep, we did some money skills today, right? And I had to give some verbal prompts. And let's say, yeah, we're making some steady improvement. There we go. So see what happened there, guys? We just addressed that goal. I put one intervention and at least one assessment, and now it changed from yellow to white. Next thing is laundry. You know what? This individual just did not want to do laundry today. I don't blame her. So I'm going to do refusal, and you know what? We've seen a steady decrease in this. She's not feeling laundry. So, you know, maybe I'm just adding some more comments here. Again, it's not required, but, you know, client refused to do laundry today. Right. Last one here is meal prep, and she loves to cook. So, yep, independent. And we just, again, we keep improving. We're doing great on that. So there you go. We've addressed all of those goals. You can see it. I get that nice visual. It's gone from yellow to white, right? And I do want to save. I do want to, so in the bottom right, you see the little disk icon there, right? The save icon. The desktop version of OnTarget does not have an autosave. So you don't want to lose your work, especially if you've got a whole bunch of goals. Like maybe your client has a bunch of goals you're working on. You want to make sure you save periodically. Okay, you don't want to lose your work if you have to log out or you've got an emergency you've got to attend to. So click on save. When we get to mobile in about 2-3 minutes, there is some autosave functionality there. So that's another great thing about the mobile. All right, last thing here before I show you timesheets, and then we're going to jump to mobile. So drawing, so this is the member signature. For some of you guys, and you may already know this, you're maybe in the process of an attestation where your individual, you're getting sort of a waiver to not have to do this. For a vast majority of you though, however, this is where the member and or guardian is signing off, right? So if you're on the desktop or a laptop, this may be a little more challenging, right? Mobile is going to be super easy. You're going to flip your phone over and say, here you go, draw and put your signature, your initials on here. But this is what it looks like if I need to, get the member's signature here. This is not your signature again. This is the member signature, right? So there's the drawing kind of scribble version. There is also a typing ability. So you could assist them. They could put in trainee, choose the font they want, and then hit save. And then you can see here the system is kind of detecting, hey, you've completed all the goals here. You've done the member signature. Don't you want to go ahead and sign this thing? And if you do, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and click yes, put in your password, hit OK, and that's gonna finish that up. So that's actually what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and sign this one. So here we go. Hit OK. And what you're gonna see is right over here. It jumped. So we've got kind of this chart. It went from a work in process all the way to signed, all the way to the system auto approved it. Okay. It approved it, which allowed it to come into my timesheet, which is the last thing I want to talk about here under the desktop. And then we're going to jump to mobile. So timesheets, it's not for you to have more work to do. It's actually to help you. So to help kind of reconcile all of your time, make sure you are not missing anything. So your time is really going to be on a week-to-week basis, okay? So for this entire group, it really, like we said, that's starting on this next Monday on the 4th. So that period is going to run Monday through Saturday on that very first time period. So starting on the 4th. And then that following, and you guys won't have to remember this, there's going to be messaging sent out around all of this. But that's the one after that will actually be running from a Sunday to Saturday. So it's going to change up a little bit, but it's going to be a week-to-week completion signing of your timesheet. Okay. So again, this one's running from 4/27 to 5/3. The next one, right, would run from, what is that, 5/4 to 5/9, right? So it's really going to run again from Monday to Saturday. But the timesheet gets auto-created. You don't even have to do anything. As long as you focus on clocking in, clocking out, if that's part of what you got to do, completing your note, signing your note, your timesheet gets automatically created. And here it is. If I expand this, here's that note that I just created. Right, there's that 8 to 9, that 1 hour of additional time of CLS that came in. Here's some time that I did yesterday. And then if you look at the very bottom here, it's totaling up my hours. So it's really just, again, it's a reconciliation tool. It's a way for you to look and make sure, are all of my hours accounted for? Eventually, you guys will also be adding some mileage in here if that applies to you, if you're able to provide mileage service. For now, that's continuing. That piece is continuing on paper. But yeah, so that's kind of what we're looking at. All that time's coming in here. And then at the end of the pay period, right? So like on the 3rd, which would be Sunday in this case. For you guys, it would be that following Saturday, like I said. But you want to, in the bottom right-hand corner where it says sign, you're going to click on sign, put in your password, hit OK, and then you would see this thing go to signed. Okay. And that's what you want to do. You want to get this thing from unsigned. The goal is at the end of the week, all of your time is represented here. All of your hours look good. Everything is totaling up. You've got all that time on there, and then you want to sign it. And that's how you're going to get paid, right? So no more, once you guys start on the 4th, everything's going to be here in OnTarget. So that includes the clocking in. So if you've been clocking in on HHA starting on the 4th, you're clocking in here. If you have been turning in paper timesheets up until then, starting on the 4th and running through to the 9th, that your timesheet is going to be electronic here in OnTarget. Okay. So getting that signed, that's how you're going to get paid. So all that time is going to get pulled in, and then your check's going to get cut. So that is everything on the desktop version of OnTarget. Let's just kind of check here. Awesome, Marcel, thank you so much for helping out there. All right, guys, so let's go ahead. I'm going to flip over to mobile. And just hang tight for a second here. All right, guys. So if you downloaded the mobile app, then this should already look familiar to you. But this is what it looks like. OnTarget mobile app, dedicated app, again, that you download from App Store, from Google Play, depending on your device type. So you're going to put in your username. You do have the option to have the system remember your username, which is great. Here also is, again, that forgot password right there, right? So if you do forget your password. So let's go ahead and get plugged in here. Get logged in. All right, guys. So here we go. So the landing page here on the mobile is a little bit different. By default, I'm taken to the schedules part. Okay. And so you can see here what I'm seeing actually, if you look, if you remember what we just saw on on the desktop version of OnTarget, oh, hang on just a second, guys. All right, I want to make sure I got enough real estate here. Okay, what you may remember is I had that note from the 26th, right? So I had that note that I had started. It looked like I had completed everything on it, but I had not signed it yet. That's what this is. So if I actually click on Start Note, it's actually just taking me right into that note that I've already basically completed. I just haven't signed the thing yet. Okay, so we're going to get to that. We're going to get to kind of scheduling here on the mobile app, start it, clocking in and clocking out, completing my note, doing all those things here on the mobile app. So the first thing you'll notice is for today, the 29th, I don't have any schedules. I do have one for Thursday. I do have one for Friday. So I want to show you a couple of things here. So let's say for Friday, let's say that actually maybe my hours are kind of shifting around a little bit, right? So maybe on Friday, I'm doing, that actually should be 2 hours, okay? And so this is what it's going to look like in order for me to update or edit that schedule, right? So I'm changing that from 1 to 2. I click on update schedule. And there you go. Now you can see on Friday, May 1st, I now have that set to 2 hours. So again, there's 3 little dots right there, right? Click on that. That's how you can edit your schedule. In this case, I have a schedule for tomorrow, but things have changed. I'm going to work today. I'm actually going to do my 1 hour of time, right? Or actually, I'm going to do even less than that, and you'll see why. I'm going to do even less than that. I'm going to do 15 minutes. But I need to delete that Thursday because I need to add that time to today instead. So I do have the ability to delete. So if I just click on, again, let me kind of back up. I'm going to click on this 3 little dots, click on delete shift, and then I need to say, yep, I do want to do that. And there you go, guys, it's gone, right? If there's a schedule, if there's a note associated with the schedule, the system's not going to let you delete it. So just kind of feel safe in that fact that there's a fail safe there. It's not just going to get rid of your data, okay? But creating a schedule, super easy. You see the little purple icon here that says create schedule. I just need to click on create schedule. I'm going to select today's date, hit OK. And then I want to select trainee 3. My service is going to be the EVV service because we want to see the clock in. My duration, I'm only going to set this for 15 minutes because I want you guys to kind of see this in action. And then I just simply click on create schedule. And you'll see now right here at schedules, I have clock in available. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on clock in. Clock in. And now there you go, clock in successful. I get that really good message. And here you can see now it says clocked in as of 10:40 a.m. Okay. So in 15 minutes, I know, so sometime around 11 or so, right, give or take, I'm going to need to clock out. All right. If you are working for 3 hours, obviously you want to complete all of your time and clock out at the end of the shift, 3 hours later. All right. If you got multiple services that you're providing, maybe you're doing some respite, maybe you're doing some personal care, you're going to have separate scheduled events for each of those services. So that's kind of how it works, right? The schedule is service specific. So I've clocked in. That's great. Now I'm going to go ahead and start my note. Okay, super easy to do. So right here beside of clock out is a start note. So I'm going to click on that. And this should already start looking familiar because we saw these exact same goals on the desktop. Okay, we saw that money management goal, we saw the laundry goal, and we also saw the cooking, the meal prep goal. Okay. So to start completing my goals here, marking my interventions and assessments, super easy. Click on the goal. And so again, this is talking about money management skills and using a debit card. So again, we're still needing some verbal prompts on this one, right? But we are improving. We're doing okay. All right. All right. Let's see. Laundry. You know what? We're in a little better mood now. We had to do a little bit of gesture prompting, but I would say, you know, we made it through. We did some gestures, and maybe assessment wise, we're still the same. We kind of plateaued on this one. All right. I'm going to go ahead and complete that. And guys, what this is doing, the mobile, and you heard me say this just a few minutes ago, the system is auto-saving. It actually is auto-saving at each incremental goal save, which is nice. So if I did get logged out or I had an emergency, it is actually saving my information here. Last one here, yeah, we just always knock this out of the park. We love cooking, and we keep improving on that. Right, and here's comments again. It's not required, but I can say loves to cook. And just constant steady improvement. So I mean, we're improving so much, you know, we may meet this goal. Maybe this is not even going to have to be a goal. All right, guys, so you'll notice when I completed that last one, it cycled me all the way back to the beginning, and now I have this green check marks next to every single goal that I've addressed. And that's a great visual. It shows me, hey, yeah, I've addressed all of those, right? If I click on additional fields, that's the member signature, right? So there's the member guardian. Again, that's not you signing. That's where the client or the guardian is signing off. So you do have, again, the ability to flip your phone around and say, here you go, you know, put your signature, your initials. And then there's also the choose signature where they can type, right? Or you can give some assistance there as needed. I feel like the mobile just so lends itself here, right, to doing the signature. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to save. All right. And then when I'm ready to confirm time, right, when I'm ready at the end to confirm and then sign it, that's when I would actually click confirm time. I'm showing you that for a reason, though. I have not clocked out yet. I don't want to clock out yet because I don't even have 15 minutes. I've got what, 4 minutes, right? I don't even have a whole 15-minute increment. So we're going to hang tight on that and kind of keep moving. Yep, there you go. You can see that's where I clocked out. I have not clocked, where I've clocked in, I have not clocked out yet. But I'm going to click back on schedules, and you can pull down there and it will refresh. So again, look, I've got 15 minutes, and I know that around 11 o'clock, I'm going to need to clock out. So I do want to show you guys a couple of other things. I've got, a good, probably 10, 15 minutes left. So going along the bottom in the dark blue, right? So if you just kind of train your eyes from schedules, notes, timesheets, profile in the dark blue at the bottom, I'm going to go to notes. And so you're seeing kind of an example of what we saw back at the desktop version of OnTarget. It's just presented in a different way, in a more mobile friendly format. So we can see right here, not started notes, right? So it's actually showing us scheduled events. So maybe I've plugged in my schedule, right? I've added everything to my schedule, but I haven't started my notes yet. And so that's not started. So again, if I scroll down, here's that one from Monday. So if you remember on the one for Monday, when I clicked on show note not created, it popped up, right? I had that scheduled event for Monday, April the 27th, and I had not started the note yet. So there you go. And I've got some from way back, right? I've got one from back in March. So I'd be a little bit in trouble on that one at this point. Maybe not. Unsigned. So those are representing notes where I've started the note, but I haven't signed them yet. So I would just simply want to click on continue note. There's that one from the 29th, right? Everything's done. Click on additional fields. And then I just want to confirm time. And then that's actually the one from today. Let me go to the one from Sunday the 26th, right? So I'm going to click continue, additional fields, confirm time. I do have a start and end time on this one. And then I would just want to sign note. I just want to click on sign note, put in my password right there, hit confirm, and I'm good to go, right? I've now signed that note. So that's what you got. You got not started, unsigned, and then right here at the bottom, right? So not started, to the right, unsigned, just below that, signed. This is just for your benefit. This is a record of showing where you have completed and signed the notes, right? So you've got this good historical record to make sure you can reconcile all of your time, make sure everything looks good. Okay. Moving along the bottom, we'll keep moving from left to right, schedules to notes, now to timesheets. This is what timesheets looks like on the mobile. So we kind of saw this on the desktop already, but I've got a pending timesheet, meaning one that I need to sign off on. Again, just, stressing that you do this, you sign the timesheet at the end of the pay period. It's going to be a weekly thing. Starting out, it's going to be Monday through Saturday. Then it's going to start picking up on Sunday through Saturday. Yeah, Leah, the respite, I can just kind of go ahead and tell you, respite looks practically identical. So I'll go back to a note. Let me see if I may actually have Let me see if I've got a respite note on here. Let's see. Do I have one from way back? Let me just see if I can find one. I'll tell you what it looks like. It is very, very similar to this guy right here. So it's very, it's very simplified. So it's kind of just kind of a yes, no, right? So this is a personal care, but I would say respite is very, very similar in the look and feel of it. So it's more like this, right? It's just like yes or NA, right? Was respite completed? Did you do this or did you not? Right? So it's same idea, same function, same basic way of doing it. It's just the look of it is a little different. It just kind of is this, very basic thing. It's just nowhere near as complex. But that's what it's going to look like. Same idea though. Same way of completing things. All right, guys. So that's signed. Again, back to timesheet. That's aggregating all of my time, which is great. It's showing me, hey, I'm sitting on 3.25 hours. It's probably not great for my whole week, but I'm getting there. And it's showing me each individual time here, right? I got the 28th represented, the 29th. And then right there at the bottom, when I'm ready at the end of the pay period, I'm going to click on sign timesheet and sign my timesheet. Not quite ready for that yet. I'll show you guys that at the very end. Again, moving right along the bottom, you'll see profile. I'm going to click on, it looks like the little person icon, right? Profile. So first thing here is demographics. That's your demographics. So that's actually, if I expand the address, nobody else can see this. This is just for your eyes, but so this is the address, your address. I can't change this or edit this, but it's a great way for you to verify your correct information, right? Date of employment, what's your job title, your address. If you change addresses, if you move, you certainly want to reach out to somebody with ProCare, let them know. So that's good. Clicking right over to assigned clients. It's just that, right? You want to make sure, do you see, number one, your assigned clients, and number two, are they the correct clients? Hopefully they are. Hopefully you have the correct assigned clients. You can get into some good information here as well, right? So that's just kind of showing you some of that demographic info for the clients. Eventually you'll actually see your check stubs in here. That's not something you'll see right out of the gate, but that's coming very, very soon, where you'll be able to click on paychecks and you're going to see your stubs in there. Certifications, that's on the horizon. That'll be coming a little bit later. And then if you've got any tax info as well. Couple of other things, and then I am going to clock out, sign that note, and I think we are going to be close to wrapping up. All the way over to the left in the dark blue on the bottom, you see Action Center. That's kind of like I think this is almost like the nerve center. It shows me all of the notes, timesheets, certifications. So notes here is a little bit different from when I click on notes right there in the middle, bottom middle. Notes, when I access notes here, this is all of my notes that I have started and have not signed, and it's all of my notes that I haven't even started yet. So it's both. It's actually it's a combination of all of those. So you can think of that as like, hey, this is all of the unfinished business. Notes that I haven't even started yet, and notes that I started them, but I haven't completed them and signed them, right? So here's one, and it tells you very, very quickly, like not started. I have not started that one. Here's one. Yep, I started it back on March the 1st. but I just didn't sign it. So I could click on continue note, right? I need to click on goals, make sure all the goals are good. Yeah, I haven't even marked off any of those goals. So a lot of work to do there. But yeah, this is good. Like if you ever want to see, hey, where do I have all of my unfinished business, right? On the mobile. And this goes back even further, right? This will show you kind of everything. We won't really talk much about certs or forms. We're not going to be kind of focused on that. But then timesheet link, here's just another link into your current timesheet. So that's going to be that pending timesheet. If you see anything there and it needs to be signed and hey, it's the 3rd, right? If you come up on the 3rd of May, all of your, you've done all your notes, you've signed everything, everything's good, then I'm going to click on scheduling right there on signed timesheet. Okay. Yep. So there you go. And I think I just saw a question about overnight scheduling. So I'll get to that here in just a bit. Yep. So that just pops me right into that that timesheet where I can sign it. The house icon, that's the home icon right in the upper left. When I click on that, if you ever get lost, like if you just are like, wait a minute, I'm kind of lost, I'm forgetting my navigation here. If you click on that home icon, that gets you kind of centered again, right? That gives you a quick link to Action Center. It takes me where I can go straight to schedules. I can go straight to notes. I can go straight to timesheets. I can forcibly log out. So if I need to secure my phone, right? If I know, hey, I need to log out because I'm going into a public area, whatever I need to do, you can click on log out right there and that's going to log you out. So that's using that, going back to home right there. As far as scheduling and the overnight, you actually have to, if you have a true overnight schedule right now, that has to be done on the desktop. Right now, the mobile application does not support the multi-day or scheduling across midnight, scheduling over a midnight hour. On the desktop, what about clocking out at midnight and back in at 12:01? Yeah, you can schedule as 2 separate events. Yeah, you could do that. You could actually end it at 11:59, which would round to midnight, right? The system would actually round to 12. And then you could put a separate scheduled event for the 12:01 if you just want to use the mobile exclusively. And we're talking about like the clocking in, clocking out. Yeah, you could do it that way, Candace. Yep. But if you do want to get that benefit of sort of, and you are having to do the clock in, clock out, if you schedule those adjacent times on the desktop and you schedule it to kind of cross over midnight into the next day, let's say like it starts at say 8 p.m. on one day and then it ends at 7 a.m. on the next day, you have a bit more sophistication of doing that on the desktop than you do here on mobile. But yeah, that's kind of a way around it there, what you just explained. All right, guys. I think we are getting close here. I think if I kind of go about 2 more minutes, I'm going to be able to actually clock out because we've got a little bit of rounding going on here for that time. So again, just to recap, let me go ahead. Let me see if I can go ahead and clock out. Clocked in as of, oh, there we go. Yep, clock out successful. Perfect. There we go. And here we go. There's the note, right? So there's my 15 minutes represented, and I am ready to click on, and it says start note, but that's actually just to continue note. If I click over here on notes and I see unsigned, There it is. There's the Wednesday, the 29th of April. That's this. It's the same note, right? So I can continue it from here too, or I could continue it from schedules. So there you go. That's what this is all of that stuff that I did probably about 10 minutes ago, right? That's where I had the member sign on the scribble pad. I'm going to now confirm time. And here we go. Yep, there's my exact clock in time. There's my clock out time. I am ready to sign this note. I'm going to go ahead and put in my password. Confirm. And there we go. Oh, yeah, that's end time in the future. So this is just a rounding, guys. This is just a product of this is a product of the rounding. The system is rounding to 10:45 and rounding to 11 a.m. Okay, so the system is now 11. I should be able to sign this thing. So here, let's try that again. Let's try signing. I think I literally had to wait about 20 seconds, and now it should let me sign it. Confirm. Let's see if it lets me sign this now. Note data refreshed successfully. There you go. Note signed successfully. Perfect. There you go. And now if I come over here to timesheets and I click on timesheets, you will see I now have 3.5 hours, right? So I added another quarter hour of time. So when I'm ready to sign my timesheet, right, I'm going to come over to timesheets. I'm going to click on that current timesheet. Again, if this is at the end of the pay period, everything looks good. I'm going to click on sign timesheet. I'm going to put in my password. I'm going to confirm. And there you go. Timesheet signed successfully. I don't have anything pending. I can see my signed timesheet because I can click on signed. I can click on that date range. And now instead of being in yellow, everything is in green, indicating green, go, good, right? So everything looks good. So I'm done with that pay period, ready to go. No need to do that anymore. You'll just write one note. Yep, perfect. Thank you for answering that, Marcel. All right, guys, so let me go ahead and stop my share. Okay. So we'll kind of hang tight, guys. If you feel like you have everything you need at this point, then that really concludes the training. Just kind of going over desktop and mobile of OnTarget. Hopefully you feel a little more confident in next steps. And again, starting on Monday. So if you feel good about where you are, you feel like you can log in, you're seeing your folks in the system, that concludes the session and you can feel free to drop. Yes, yeah, so Candace, yeah, the continuous scheduling, so the recurrence, yeah. If you need to do a recurring scheduling, you're gonna have to do that on desktop. At least right now. hopefully one day we'll have the recurrence feature on mobile as well. But yeah, and you could schedule out for a whole month, right? If you're able to jump onto the desktop and you can schedule for a month or maybe even 2 at a time, that would limit your time on desktop. But yeah, guys, anybody that needs to drop, you certainly can. That's really the end of the primary training session. If you need